Right. So more or less, I am going to focus here with the IoT and different applications of IoT, and how we can actually see that how IoT will help us in this particular situation, what we are facing nowadays in COVID-19 pandemic situations. So I'll first start from the basics of IoT, and then we'll slowly move on to how it will help us in today's scenario. So IoT has gradually transformed the way daily tasks are completed. Nowadays, we have different type of IoT devices. If we'll talk about from the wearable, we have different type of wearable for the healthcare perspective. We have different type of remote cameras by which we can monitor uh, anywhere in our absence. We have different sort of security devices which will help us for securing our offices, which will help us for securing our house. And we have robots, we have drones, like we have different sort of apps available in our mobile phone. It is connected with different type of sensors within, and it will really help us for actually doing our daily task possible. Now, if we'll talk about an application of IoT, which is nowadays very popular in Bhubaneswar, is the buses. So here in the transport buses, all the buses are connected with the internet, and in real time we can see in our applications, we can actually see where my bus is, and in this particular stop how much time it will take for the arrival. So in that way, actually it is the IoT is making our life more easier. Now let's see, what do you mean by IoT? I think Deepak sir has already discussed on that. I'll just go in brief. So IoT is nothing but a type of ecosystem for connected physical objects that are accessible through the internet. Now, the IoT is an ecosystem. So let me tell you, IoT is not a alone technology. It is just an ecosystem or a type of concept, you can say, a type of framework, you can say. It is used for connecting physical objects, any appliances, anything that you want that if will connect it, it will be useful. That object or that thing you can connect to the internet. The thing here can be, let's say, a person with the heart monitoring system or an automobile with a built-in sensors, or you can see a thing here. These objects that have been assigned an IP addresses and have the ability to collect and transfer data over the network without manual assistant or intervention. This is the idea behind IoT, that without any intervention of the human being, without any physical touching of the human being, how an object will be connected to the internet and they can send and receive the data from the internet. So this is all about IoT. Now let's talk about a different major component of IoT. As I told you, IoT is not a technology, a specific technology, or not one technology, or we can say IoT is not one concept. Instead, IoT is a combination of many concepts, and we can say that IoT. Now, if we'll talk about some major components of IoT, so we have the first component that we can see here is the thing or the devices. The thing or the devices means anything, any object which are attached with the sensors, can called a thing or the devices. Now here sensor plays an important role here in IoT. And if you have heard about wireless sensor network, so you can see this particular part where things and devices are there. That part is nothing but sensor network, wireless sensor network. And what is the objective of this is any physical object, if we want to make to be connected, so we have to have a sensor on it. Okay, let's say if we'll talk about the appliances, let's say the fan or the lights. If we want the light or the fan has to be connected to the internet, so what is the use of it? First of all, so the use is, let's say I want to monitor that my fan is on or off. I want to monitor my appliances is on or off. I want to monitor that whether my seat is occupied or not. I want to find out, like, let's say, if I want to make a chair to be connected with the internet. So I have to say that whether my chair is occupied or not. So for that, I need to connect my chair or my appliances or anything that I want to know about the status of that device or the thing has to be connected to the internet. So this particular part is nothing but your wireless network that is connected with the sensor. So that is called wireless sensor network. And what is the objective of this part is to generate the data. And these data should go to the gateway node. Here, this is the second part of it. Now, the gateway node is nothing but any computing device which is actually connected to the internet. So your wireless sensor network is we cannot say that it is not feasible to connect each and every thing or each and every device to connect with the internet, right? So if we have, let's say, the smart watch, so do you think that the smart watch is connected to the internet? No, it is connected with my mobile phone, and in the mobile phone I have the application by which it is transferring the data of the different data. Let's say it is talking about, let's say, the heartbeat. Okay, so it is taking my heartbeat, and this the heartbeat data it is sending to my mobile phone, and this mobile phone is actually connected to the internet. So in the same way, your wireless net devices are there, and these devices are generating the data through the sensors, and these data will go to the gateway node, and this gateway node is actually connected to the internet, so that these data will go to the cloud. Here another concept is there related to the cloud, that what is the use of the cloud is. Now the cloud is actually there are two use of cloud. One is to store the data, and second is to process the data. Now, whatever data that we are generating and sending through the gateway node has to be stored into the cloud. Okay, we cannot actually process all the data of the internet of things inside or locally. So we have to send these data to the cloud, and this cloud will store and process the data. Now we have seen about the gateway node. So the gateway node is nothing but making the interface between your wireless sensor network and the cloud. And the cloud has two things. One is to storage, another is to process. Now, because cloud is nothing but a remote computing device somewhere, definitely it has the computing capability, it has the storage capability. So it will store my data, it will compute my data through different analytics software or analytics algorithms. Let's say in nowadays we say machine learning, AI algorithms, data sciences, all those things will come into the picture when we are talking about data processing, right? So this analytic is also a major component of IoT, which will use to analyze the data which is stored into the cloud. So whatever algorithm that we want to use for the processing of these data, whatever algorithm we use to get the result from these data, we can find it out from this particular thing from here, right? Now, The last component of the Internet of Thing is user interface. Now, why the Internet of Thing? Why the Internet of Thing? What is the use of that? So it is ultimately all the applications of IoT is connected with the user who are using that network, that IoT network, right? So definitely, whatever net, whatever IoT applications we are using, it is used by the user. So let's say if I'll talk about my remote camera, right? I have a remote monitoring camera inside my home, and I want to monitor the activity what is happening in my home if I am not in the home. So what happened, I can see with the help of the application. Let's say I have an XYZ company's camera, and that camera is associated with an application which I can install in my mobile phone, and I can see a real-time feed given by the camera, right? So this camera is nothing but, you can see it is so you can see the camera itself is a sensor. It is capturing the video, and these data through the gateway, if it is connected with the let's say access point of your home, so definitely the router and all, so that router will become the gateway, and it will send the data to the cloud. Cloud means that XYZ company's cloud, and from where it will do the analysis and give me the data in my application, whatever application I have installed in my mobile phone. So that application is nothing but the interface by which a user can see, monitor, right? And either it can use some web applications also, or it can use some other way of giving the alerts, let's say the SMS or the WhatsApp messages. All those can be done, and this comes under user interface, right? So ultimately, what is the use of IoT? So we use the IoT to monitor the thing and to control the thing remotely. There are two things only in the IoT. We should monitor the thing, means the generated data, we should process it. The second, we can control the thing. Let's say my AC is on, or let's say the light is off when I came to the office, and accidentally my AC is on. So if I have a remote way of accessing the AC, I can switch it off, right? Or if lock is there and I don't want to open the door by physically, so I'll just unlock by my application, so that if authorized person is there, he can come, and then again I lock the door. So remotely, how can I control, or how can I access these devices or these things, these objects, right? So that's why we use IoT. So there are different applications of IoT. Before going to the applications of IoT, let's see what are the thing which is used to make your IoT infrastructure. As you see, IoT is actually not a single concept or the technology, right? So it is a combination of all. We have things which is a wireless sensor network, generating the data, sending to the gateway node. Gateway node is sending the data to the cloud. Cloud will do the processing with the analytics program like AI ML programs, and these results will reach to the user through the user interface. We have different sort of applicate the sensors, right? So what I think Dr. Deepak Singh sir has already told about, we have different sort of sensors. We have ultrasonic sensor, we have a smoke sensor, human body or the movement sensor, we have sound sensor, and we have vibration sensor, soil sensor, right? There are many other type of sensor like accelerometer, flex sensor, IR transmitter. We have hall sensor, we have rain sensor, we have different gas sensors. So we have a lot of type of sensors we have temperature sensors. Even I'll show you some of the sensors that I have. Okay, that's great. That's great. So yeah, so I want to show you some of the sensors that I have. Let's say these are different type of sensors. So we have different sensors are there, which can be connected into different microcontrollers, right? And so yeah, so these are different type of sensors that we can connect actually uh, to the objects or the thing that we want to connect, right? So let me show you some of the uh, actuator also. So in this IoT, we have two part, right? Sensor and the actuators. So what sensor will do? Sensor will generate the data from the physical or the analog way. It will convert the data into the digital form. And let's say if we have a temperature, so it will tell us what is the temperature. If it is a humidity, it will tell me what is the humidity. If there is a pressure, it will tell me how much pressure it is giving me. If there is a motion, it will alert me that there is some motion, right? So these type of thing can be done by the sensors. And these actuators, there are different type of motors here, and this is um, different motors. If you can see here, all these things are used in IoT. And there is a linear type of linear sort of movement can be done. This is also a type of motor. These are the uh, relay devices, which is actually for controlling the appliances, the physical appliances and all. So what is an actuator? So actuator is nothing but giving the actuation or giving the movement to the object. So let's say I want to open the door, right? So how I'll unlock it? So there should be some sort of lock which is used by the motors, and when I'll provide the signal, the motor will be on and the motion will take place, and then my door will open. In the same way, the door will be closed, right? In the same way, if I want to on any appliances, so I'll use relays. So these relay will also use the signals which will go to these relays, and these relay will say that appliances will go on or appliances will go off. So you can see the sensors has actually what you can say, you have to give the power to the sensor, and there is a pin by which you can actually get the data of the sensor. In the same way, the actuator also, you have to give the power to the actuator, and there is a port by which you give the signal to the actuator to move in one direction, like a clockwise, anti-clockwise, left or right, or you give the signal to on and off, right? So the actuator is also playing a vital role when we develop any IoT application. Now, after the sensor and the actuator, let's see some of the microcontrollers. So we have some microcontrollers, like we have Arduino Uno, we have Node MCU. So this is an example of Arduino Uno. This is a Node MCU. This one is Raspberry Pi. This is the ARM microcontroller. So we have different type of microcontroller and microprocessor, which is actually used as a connector to these sensors, because sensors alone cannot do anything. Sensor will only can generate the data, but the processing of data, the storage of data, and the transmission all will be done by these microcontrollers, right? So these microcontroller will actually helping these sensors to generate the data, and these actuator to give the signal, right? So the actuator and the sensors are actually connected to these microcontrollers, and these microcontrollers are connected to the internet to send their data to the internet actually. So let's talk about some applications of IoT, because this particular webinar is mainly focusing on different applications of IoT and how this IoT application we can link to the COVID-19 pandemic. We have different normal applications of IoT. Let's talk about a smart home. If we want to make our home smart, let's say if I'll say that LED or the AC one you should on, or AC two you should off. So it will recognize my voice, or if I'll use some application, so I'll put on and off button, so it will just communicate with that applications and um, become smarter. If the room is occupied and the light is low, so automatically my light will go on. If I'm closing the door, though, it will automatically lock down, or if I want to open it, it will open, or only authorized user can access into the office, right? So these smart offices and smart home are one application of IoT. Another application of IoT is different wearable devices like this, right? So this is an application of IoT, and nowadays it is very much popular. Smart city. So we'll talk about a smart city in a greater way. What are the other different applications that will is associated directly to the IoT, which will be useful in smart city applications. Smart grid means, let's say, the smart meter, electricity meter. So depend upon our usage, it will tell us that uh, how it will manage the appliances. Let's say if nothing is useful is going on, then it will on the let's say the washing machine, because the washing machine can the use of the washing machine is like we can use it anytime in the hour, right? So if the usage of the electricity is very less, then only it will use the washing machine. If AC is on, so it will not use the washing machine. In that way, it will manage itself. It will send these data to the actual server, so that these power distribution offices can monitor in which area there are more usage of electricity, in which area there are less usage of electricity. In that way, actually, they can cope up with this particular um, management of, or the distribution of the power. Industrial internet, this is also called IIoT, industrial internet of things. So internet of thing is very much popular among industries for manufacturing companies. So if somebody will want to change the shapes of the dolls, so it can do it by programming, or it will monitor the leakage of different type of gases. It will make the industry or the workplace more safe, right? So by monitoring all the different phenomena inside the industry, so it is very much useful application of IoT. Connected car, if we'll talk about connected car, or the car without a driver, that is automated car project, so IoT is playing a vital role on it. Connected health, this is one issue that we'll see today mainly. So health means whatever the health data that is generated, it should go into the cloud, and from the cloud the diagnosis will be done. And if uh, 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 a doctor got a similar type of cases, it will see what type of diagnosis priorly has been done for that particular patient, and it will really help for making the decision that how we can treat a patient, right? It is a very good application, and we can make a lot of things from this particular connected health. If we have different type of situation like accidents and all, so it will automatically tell to the nearby hospitals about the emergency situation, and it will send the locations and all, and as well as many hospital can exchange their data and process it and get diagnosed, and it will really help for the patient, for the doctors, as well as for the different staffs. And let's say the blood banks, those all the blood banks are connected to each other, so definitely they will have the information about the stocks, so they can really, this particular information really save the life of many people. So yeah, so this is a very good application. Next is smart retailing. So nowadays we know that what do you mean by smart retailing, right? Even if we'll talk about real time data analysis, where your um, goods are, uh, in which place your goods are right now, and what is the movement, how much time it will take to reach you. All these things can be actually done with the help of uh, the IoT, right? There is two more application like smart supply chain. So if some manufacturing company is there and it will collecting its raw material from uh, different regions, so it will actually make sure that all the raw material will reach to the factory on time, and it will monitor all those things so that it will make the decision priorly, right? Smart farming. So in the farming also, that IoT concept has came into the picture. So one of the startup, he's actually passed out from IIT Mumbai, and he has one of the associate, he has actually made a application by which if somebody want to see its crop situation and what is the health of the crop, so it will just install the application and take a picture of that particular crop, and then it will easily identify that is there any problem with the crop, what type of fertilization, what type of other so the problem is there with the crop, and it will handle it, right? So this is one application. We have a huge amount of application related to smart farming nowadays related to IoT. Okay, let's talk about something related to the smart city applications. We have different smart city applications which are available. Let's talk about monitoring environment, how we can monitor our environment when we talk about a smart city, right? Now, what is the air pollution level right now? How we can overcome in that particular region? What is the problem that the, the pollution came at that particular and what is the water quality there? In those, all those things can be done very easily. What is the oxygen level? All those things can be easily done by monitoring those data. Waste management is a very great application of IoT. Another, we have public safety, which will be useful for actually tracking a person, or is a child or a very old person, so we can actually track the safety of the people. uh, if there is any accident, we can actually alert the nearby hospital or the police station. So all these things are nothing but different applications of IoT. We have smart home applications related to smart city, smart communication system, smart infrastructures, education technology platforms, right? A smart community, central management services, smart services. So all those are different applications related to a smart city of IoT nowadays. Okay. Let's talk about today's actual portion of IoT, that is COVID-19. How it is actually doing different things, and how it is actually affecting uh, different what mm, different sectors. Like we have education sector, we have technology sector, we have IoT sector, right? How we have people, different people, we have enterprise sector. So how it is actually affecting. Okay, now before actually going to this particular thing, to actually increase the imagination, or to actually increase how we can do with the IoT, I want to actually show you some hands-on type of thing. So we know what are the different component of IoT. The first component is your wireless sensor network. Another is gateway, then cloud, and then analytics, and then user interface. So here for the user interface, we'll say that we have different applications. So I'll take one application, the mobile application. Second thing we'll talk about is we'll talk about the cloud, and we'll talk about the real sensors and how it is generating the data. Okay, so I think you can able to see me in the full screen. So I'll show you. I want to show you one sensor. So this is a sensor which is called DHT sensor, digital analog and digital sensor. It is actually generating two data. One is the temperature data, another is the humidity data. I am just connecting these sensor to the microcontroller. This is node MCU. Okay, so this node MCU actually will be taking the data from the DHT sensors, and it has a Wi-Fi module which is easily connect with the internet, and then these data will send to one of the cloud, and we'll try to fetch those data into the application and try to monitor real time in the mobile phone. Okay, so this particular thing I want to show you. Okay, so this is the database. If you can see, this is the database in which I am actually sending the data in the real time, and I have the mobile phone actually which is capturing these data in a real time. So if you see here, the humidity is 67% and the temperature is 24 degrees Celsius. And I have connected the devices, and let's see. Yeah, so it is changing to 57 right now, and the temperature is 24. And you can see in my mobile phone also, it is 57 and 24 in real time. So if I'll show you in full screen, so this is how this actually works, right? So what I have done is I have done the connections between the cloud and this mobile applications, and this data actually uh, the sensor data is going to the cloud, and from the cloud I am capturing into the my applications. Okay, one more thing I want to show you is let's say this is a one way of communication where we are monitoring, right? Can we do a remote accessing of these devices? So yeah, that is the example. If you'll see in my back, there is the setup that I have done. Here we have different LEDs which are there, which will indicate the different appliances in your home. And what these devices are, we can actually, through the application, we can remotely access these devices, on and off these devices, with the help of again the cloud, right? So if I am in the full screen, so yeah.
Yes, full screen.
Yeah, so you can see I am just making on through my mobile application. So you can see in my behind the LED is glowing, and again I am making it off. So you can see that it is going off, right? So in that way, what I can do is through the mobile phone, actually my mobile phone is also connected to the internet. My device is also connected to the internet, and I can actually uh, access those devices anywhere in the world through the internet. So this is how the thing will be done. And again, I'll on it. So this is how your IoT actually works. Okay. So why I want to tell you these example is because if you'll see this example, then only you can understand that what are the different applications that are possible, through the IoT. Okay, let's back to our uh, PPT. Now here, let's talk about today's scenario in COVID-19 pandemic. What are the different sectors that are affected positively, that are affected negatively, and that are affected neither positively nor negatively? So the first, we have different sectors like enterprises technology. Now in today's world, cost has to be reduced. Now in every sector, if we'll talk about the petroleum sector, right? We are not driving our car, or we are not driving our vehicle nowadays, right? Because of the lockdown. So the demand has been less, right? We are not purchasing new cars, we are not purchasing other new bikes and all, right? So these sectors are actually um affecting. So what they are doing is they are reducing the cost. How they are reducing the cost? To reducing the running cost by not purchasing the raw materials, or to what they can do is they can reduce the manpower, right? In that way, what they are doing is they are reducing the cost, and which is an effect, right? Second is better business transparency is needed, right? So it is actually booming nowadays. We need the better transparency in the business. Nowadays everything is digital, and we'll talk about the contactless purchasing and all, and we used to purchase everything by card or by different applications. So transparency actually comes into the picture. Process become more automated. So we'll talk about more automation will be involved in the process. Yeah, definitely it has been automated. Now the next is supply chain and manufacturing has become flexible and capability become flexible and resilient. Now here, if we'll talk about supply chain mechanism, where we are, let's say I am the let's say a product manufacturer, and I am purchasing a raw material from one country, and nowadays you can see that there is no communication with one country, or so I have to increase my sources by which I can purchase the raw material from different. So I should have uh, I should have more global approach instead of just going to one country or another country. Now, technology wise, if we're talking about an ongoing process, ongoing project has been paused. So if you'll see different Indian government projects and all, they are in the pause right now. They are not talking about, or they are not creating, or they are not looking for investing more money to the project which is not involved by COVID-19. So that is done. So that is a negative part, definitely. Decline demand for new project devices or services. Yeah, so if the new project is not going on, definitely it is the demand is low. What is a positive thing? If you'll see the eighth part, there is many digitalization innovative, or the invention has been done right now. We are not actually we are not doing online grocery, but nowadays we do. We generally or different, you can say that startups and all, nowadays we have to leave the traditional approach of a startup, and we have to more go for the digital way of dealing. So different companies which are dealing with the technology, different companies which are involved in digital marketing, or digital way of handling the business are growing nowadays. So there is no effect in the digital divide. Okay, so there is a division of digital markets, right? So we are not purchasing the TVs, and we are not purchasing the different gadgets. Instead, we are purchasing those gadgets which are more applicable for COVID-19. So that is the phenomena which are taking place. Now, if we'll talk about IoT technology, so largely IoT network, largely uninfected, because it is generating the data which are generating 3 months back. The same data has been generated, so we can say it is unaffected. Technology roadmap get delayed, so definitely if we are talking about new technology which is coming, which has to come related to IoT, has been paused, has been delayed, and more focused on related to COVID-19. Some different specific application of IoT we'll talk about, then decrease in interest in consumer IoT devices has been decreased. More looking for the devices which is first of all remote asset access becoming more important nowadays. Remote access means the Zoom and all, where we are doing these type of webinar, we are taking the classes, we are actually educating the people. Or you can see remote accessing means remote login to our servers which are there in the office. We want to do the important work, so we are using that, or the virtual network we are creating. All those comes into this remote access, remote asset access. Digital twin help with scenario planning, that we all know that. New uses of drones. So nowadays, if you see that usage of drone has been increased, or usage of those robots has been increased. So what drone is doing? Drone is doing the monitoring. It is spreading the information to the contaminated, the zone where we cannot go, which is highly infected by COVID-19. The drone is taking the temperature of different people who are, let's say, standing in the balcony, or drone is taking the different monitoring, or giving the medicines to the paramedical or to the doctors, and giving the, let's say, the PPE kits to the hospitals. So that can be done nowadays with the drone, because yeah, it is a very good way of good application of IoT, which has been increased. If we talk about a specific IoT health application is increased, uh, you see that many hospital in USA or in China, they are having those COVID patient has the band, and that band is generating the data of the temperature, generating the data of the oxygen that inhale, or taking the data of the heartbeat or the blood pressure, and in the real time it is monitoring, and if there is some problem, it will just give the alert uh, to the medical staff, and again it will be use of the drone or the robots which will help these patient, right? So is a huge application which will take place. Track and trace solution get used more. So tracking tracing is one more solution here. We are tracking the human being with, let's say, we have the app, right? Arogya Setu is a good example of IoT, where we can track the infected people and how many other normal people has a trace with the infected people. So is a very good application, and we should think on that particular direction. The smart city data platform are very much useful nowadays. How much people are above 60, or how much people are having the disease or the problem, and what area is the prone area, you can say, where the slum are more. All these things can be the data will be managed by the smart city, and that data is useful in today's situation. Increase in easy to install IoT. So easy to install IoT devices are there, then people are actually purchasing them. It is we'll discuss about it. Many things we'll discuss about related to this. IoT security and privacy. There is a problem in cyber. So many people are sitting in their home, right? And hackers are also sitting in their homes. And what they do hackings and all, right? So nowadays, the cyber attacks is taking place for the IoT devices. More hackers are actually activated in today's situations. Privacy get re-evaluated, right? My privacy means, let's say if I'm putting my data to the application, let's say that Arogya City, so I want that my data should be preserved. My data should be uh, private to me, right? No other people can know my private data or the health data that I don't want to discuss with any other person. But yeah, it is, you can see that neither increase nor decrease of the sense. It is more or less uninfected. Additional focus on security. Yeah, many people are doing that because of this, because the cyber attacks are more. So more focus is on security. People and relation, fewer IoT jobs are there. Yeah. So we just actually talked about different areas which are actually affecting or not affecting or increasing, right, due to COVID-19 pandemic. So these are different area that has been find out. Let's talk about post COVID-19 applications related to IoT, and we'll more focus on this because today's webinar is on that. And definitely, without knowing the basics, if we'll talk about the application, it is of no use. So let's talk about, so I think you can see my slide. The first is track quarantine. Like, this is the first thing that anybody is looking for, that if somebody is coming from anywhere, and if is quarantine or not. So nowadays migration is going on, right, all over the country, and can we actually make effective of these quarantine, and can we track the quarantine when people has come? So let me tell you, or let me give more focus on this, and then at last we'll discuss many things. So this is a critical step to curb the spread of COVID-19 that we all know is SF, is the effective quarantine will actually remove or the reduce uh, the infected people. So quarantine is the main thing. But how this IoT is helping on that? So many countries throughout the world turn to IoT and GPS enable app to track, and when necessary restrict such people movement. So different companies like Russia, Poland, Singapore, or South Korea, they are the few countries who have gone into that particular route. There is one application, or the example of Hong Kong. They have started its quarantine effort from the airport. And what they do is, at the arrival of the passenger, were given a wristband along with unique QR. So there is a unique QR with the wristband, and then they can track their movement. And how they will track the movement? So the passenger will download an application that is called Stay Home Safe application on their smartphone, and scan the QR of their wristband. On reaching the home, what the person will do is, the person has to take a walk around their apartment to to actually activate the device. So once they will do, the device will know what is the parameter of it, their apartment or the house, and then the device will be activated. And the basic technology is geofencing technology that they are using, and they are using different technologies like GPS, RFID, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth signals, and different cellular networks to actually enable that quarantine tracking. The second thing that is the application of IoT is pre-scanning or diagnosis. Pre-screening means, uh, we all know that the health workers are very busy. These persons are doesn't have any time to attend our call. So while these hospitals and medical centers were quick to start this telemedic services to diagnose and answer questions about COVID-19, what happen is the waiting time of these calls are more nowadays, because many people are looking for different queries related to COVID-19. So there is one examples that I can share with you. To counter this particular problem, software company collaborate with the hospitals and the medical centers to set up chatbots in their website and the mobile applications. So these chatbot, what they will do this, they will ask the series of questions to screen visitors accounting to the severity of their condition. This way, the doctor and medical staff don't have to answer the same question over and over again, and they can instead use this time to treat patients. So if you'll see the Arogya Satu app, when you open the app, they will ask you different questions. So it is a sort of chatbots, okay? And that has been designed with different doctors, and it is updated frequently. So this question will be updated based on the situation, what situation we have. And similarly, in different part of the globe, many people are using these applications, and this is a huge application of IoT, right? Third thing is cleaning and disinfecting. Cleaning, sanitizing, disinfecting of these medical facilities is a very risky job, right? So anybody who is doing these jobs, definitely it is more prone to the infection of COVID-19. So there are different companies which are actually, what they are doing is they are creating the robots. These robots actually disinfect the surface by emitting high intensity ultraviolet light, which destroy the virus by actually tearing apart their DNA. They are Wi-Fi based and can be controlled through applications. Currently, they are being used in China, Italy, and USA. This is very much popular for cleaning and disinfecting the hospitals or the clinics and all. The fourth very useful that we have discussed shortly is innovative use of drones. Yeah, so for monitoring and enforcing to stay home in order to make the law and order, or to force people to be in there, we can do monitoring, we can actually enforce them, we can actually announce like this is the situation outside, you don't have to go outside. And if something it has been some changes has been done, we can announce through these drones without going to that particular infected area. Second thing we can do is disinfecting the highly contaminated hotspot, right? So that is also easily can be done by the drone. So drone will spread these solutions to that particular area where it is highly disinfected and we cannot go there, and infected and we cannot go there. So disinfection can be done very easily. Next thing is medical samples can be fly. Let's say if we have if I have a sampling collection booth somewhere, and let's say that 10 samples has been or 20 sample has been collected. So instead of sending through the vehicles, it will send through the drones, right? It is very quickly it can reach to these centers where the sample will be collected and being tested. Or we can send the quarantine materials like PPT, mask, and these gloves very easily. We can send it. Or we can check the temperature of those people who are quarantined. Let's say they are quarantined in the home. So we can easily go and check their temperature if they are in their balcony or outside their home. So there are tremendous applications of drone in today's situation. Is very much useful. Reducing in-home infections. So let me tell you some examples how we can reduce in-home infections through IoT. So we know that there is an increase of awareness among people to avoid touching vulnerable surfaces like doorknobs. We don't have to touch all again and again. Light switches, we don't have to touch again and again because the infection is there. Like the remote controls, because it has been touched by many people in one day, so we don't have to do that. So what is the alternatives to it? So without touching these things, particularly after touching the mails or the packages which comes outside, so it is very risky to touch doorknobs or the lights or these switches or these remote controls. So what we can do is instead we use IoT enable smart speakers, light, security system, etc., or different devices like Alexa or your Google Home and all, by which we can give the instruction to that you should increase or decrease the volume, or you can switch on or off the lights, or you can close the doors and all. You can, so all these things can be easily done without actually touching those thing and do the, yeah. So one example I want to give you is recently with the use of smart security system, to request the delivery guy to leave the package inside his house while he unlock the door from its phone. So from the phone, it can do the unlock, and package will come and it will just put it in your doorstep and you don't have to touch it. So this is a huge sort of applications of related to IoT. Smart filled hospital, right? This is another one applications of IoT. I'll let you know about one real-time example of it. So in early March 2020, a smart filled hospital was set up in Wuhan, China, we all know, to provide some relief to the exhausted health workers. And what they have done is, in this hospital, this is a perfect example of IoT and AI. So we can say AI IoT application, where robots are there. These IoT devices performed, or these robots performed all the tasks in the hospital, from checking temperature of incoming patient to clean and disinfect the area. They provide food and medicine to the quarantine patient, and even entertain them by dancing. Each patient wore a smart bracelet and ring, so their vitals like temperature, heart rate, and blood oxygen level could be monitored. If there were signal of infection, the medical staff was intimated, and even doctors and nurses wore these bracelets to capture early sign of infections. So a number of similar hospital has been set up in different part of China, and what we are thinking is in India also these type of initiatives should be there, so that the health worker should get some relief for unusual thing, like to go check the temperature of the patient again and again, and to give the food, to give the medicine. Instead, we can do with the robot, or the disinfecting of the surface and all we can do with the robots. So all these are different applications, post COVID applications of IoT. We have some more like ensure social distancing. We can have some RFID enabled tag we can use, by which if we are coming let's say 1 meter in the range of another people, so it will give me an alert. That also can be done. Or can we make some application, uh, we install the application, and based on the Bluetooth and different all other different sensors, it will tell us that you are not maintaining the social distancing. Disinfecting beans. This is one another. There is another company in Chennai. So not Chennai, Kerala. They have come up with a UV bean, disinfecting bean, in which if you put the gloves and the face mask or PPE or other equipments generally in the hospital or the medical centers, for let's say for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, so it will just disinfect all those equipment to again reuse it, right? So it is a very good thing that these people are making, and they will tell us that in the real time, it will tell us that how many equipments are there, how much more equipment can go inside it, how much time it will take for the disinfection, all those things can be done. smart sample collection booth we can make the booth to be more smarter. We can do the monitoring of the people uh, through previous. We can do that, and we can make it more smart so that the infection spreading could be reduced. Real time information during the spread of these infection, can we do that real time? Yeah, nowadays we have seen different apps which will, from which we are getting the real time information about the spreading of the infections, and that can be easily done by the the data which is generated, and the processing will be done, and based on the geographical location it will tell us that in that particular district these many people are infected on all those things. So many other thing can be done here. Rapid COVID-19 screening, can be done the rapid COVID-19 screening in the public places like malls and different shopping malls, or different transportation like airport or bus stand or the railway station. Can we do that? Yeah, this is one question, and this is the applications of IoT. Smart appliances and switches we can make for the smart home and the offices ready to install. And these type of thing if we are inventing in today's world, so um, anybody can actually buy it, and they can start using it. So this is one of the great uh, applications of IoT in the COVID-19. So yeah, so now the house is open to all for discussion. If you have any queries, or if you want to elaborate anything, you want to add something, so you can give your comments here in the